Welcome to Beyond Profile. Today is March 6th, 2012, and we have a gap down this morning in the markets, a little bit of a continuation of what we saw yesterday in the markets selling on the gap down in the open yesterday morning. S&P market going to be right down against this value area low that we've been in this balance area here. This would be the bottom end of it, this 50-52 area. And if we hold, then we've still got rotation in place. If we fail here, we can go all the way back down through this whole range, and we'd been talking for quite some time about these retests of the 22 high volume node and then 1308 back down here. So the first area here is going to be the prior weekly value area high, which will be this 51 area. You have a minor volume node at this 45s, but you can see the balance area, the structure in here, the box that I've got drawn around there. This is acceptance of value. That was value from 31s up to, we'll call it 52s. And we had some acceptance of value. So I suspect that, this morning when the markets open, we're right down against this, we would get a bounce off of this area the first thing this morning. And how far does it carry us? We'll have to watch and see what kind of strength it's got. I mean, obviously you've got back to 57s. Yesterday's lows would be a spot, but again, a weak bounce here wouldn't open up the door for more downside, if you will. So, this candle right here 4 days ago was an outside candle. We made a higher high and a lower low. It's usually a big signal candle for a short-term top in the markets. A lot of professionals will look at that and say, oh, outside candle, that's it, tops in place here. And we're seeing the repercussions, if you will, or the outflow of that particular candle structure now coming down as we come back to retest the bottom end of this. What's going to be interesting is again, whether or not we get to testing this area here and break inside of this prior balance area. That really will ruin what structure was in here. And even a quick probe into this area and back in then would make me back on the bullish side of the house. All right, let's look at the NASDAQ. This has got a nasty gap down this morning also here. So here's the NQ. Yesterday you see a big wide range candle gapped open right into last week's point of control at 2640, and down she went. This morning we're trading right down here against the 96. There was actually a what did we look at last night in the room? Well, obviously you got the whole number 2600, but we're below that here. Our low in the overnight is 9150. So we've dropped just a little bit lower. This number right here, 8575, is the monthly point of control for last month, February. So this is going to be a big number right here. I suspect if we get any sort of a bounce this morning, that'll be kind of my target objective to the downside. Take out the Globex lows where they had some buyers stepping in at 91s, and then see if this can't go down into that 85.75 number, which for us would be a responsive trade off of that high volume, because there's a lot of structure in that on that. It'd be like bouncing off of something and hitting the floor again and then trying to get a bounce. Based on how much of a bounce we get will determine, do we have a short-term bottom? Do we run back and fill the gap from yesterday, 2616s? But we had a very wide range candle yesterday in the NASDAQ. And again, short-term top. There was a lot of things converging in the markets. If you look at, we had Dow 13,000, we had the NASDAQ Composite at 3,000. And the ES was almost to 1400, 1350, and a lot of things started to converge at that area. So anyways, this will be a big area for us on the NASDAQ, this 85.75 number. If for some reason we get down to there, it's marked off. It'll be a responsive trade the first time into it. Structurally, it's got a lot of development there. There was a lot of trade there. So as we come into it, we're going to get a bounce off of that area, and we'll want to play that on the responsive side. So this morning we have to wait and see how things are facilitating here. The volume is coming in at the lows right now at 25.95s on the NQ, coming in at 52s on the S&P right now. So there's some acceptance, if you will, or some accumulation down at this low. So I suspect we see some sort of a bounce by the time we get to 9:30 this morning. We're getting acceptance of value also. So value's been accepted on the NASDAQ down at 91s. And trading above its point of control for the overnight. So we should see some sort of a bounce, I suspect, this morning. And then we'll look to see if we're going to get short down to that 85.75 number. All right? Have a good trading day, everyone. We'll see you in the room.